Welcome to the Explainer. You ever notice that lag, that little delay, even when your internet is supposedly super fast? Well, today we're going to talk about exactly why that happens, and we're going to dive into two technologies that are fixing it: edge and fog computing. They sound kind of complex, I know, but trust me, they're the secret sauce to a much faster, smarter future.
So to get us started, let's think about this for a second. A self-driving car is cruising along, and bam, a deer jumps out on the road. It has to make a decision in a fraction of a second. Why is waiting for a signal to bounce off a server hundreds of miles away a terrible, terrible idea? The answer to that question really gets to the heart of one of the biggest challenges our whole connected world is facing right now.
So, what's the core of the problem? Well, it's pretty simple. We are drowning in data. An absolute tsunami of it. Every single second, billions of devices, your phone, your smartwatch, traffic cameras, you name it, are creating this relentless, non-stop flood of information. For years, the way we handled this was just to send everything up to these massive centralized cloud servers. But think about it. It's like trying to mail a letter to your next-door neighbor by sending it to a national sorting facility first. It just doesn't make sense. We're creating these huge digital traffic jams, and for the kind of technology we're building now, it's just not going to cut it anymore.
Okay, so how do we fix this massive bottleneck? Well, the most logical first step is to stop sending every little piece of information on a cross-country road trip. Instead, what if we bring the computing power, the brain power, right to where the data is actually being created? You can think of it as our first line of defense against this data overload. And this whole concept has a name: edge computing. And the name really says it all, right? The processing, the thinking, happens right at the edge of the network. A lot of the time, it's happening on the device itself, before that data even has a chance to start its long journey to a data center.
And the payoff here is huge. We're talking about the ability to make incredibly fast, real-time decisions. It's basically like giving our technology a digital reflex. Our self-driving car doesn't have time to phone home and ask the cloud for permission to slam on the brakes. It needs to react now. And that right there is the power of the edge.
All right, so edge computing handles those instant, split-second reflexes. Great, but what happens next? Even with that local processing, we're still dealing with a fire hose of data. We need someone to sort it all out, like a smart middle manager. And that brings us to the next layer in this system.
And here it is: fog computing. You can think of it as this intelligent layer that sits right between the edge devices on the ground and the big cloud up in the sky. It's not on the device itself, but it's not in some faraway data center either. It lives right there, in your local network.
So instead of having every single device screaming directly at the cloud all at once, the fog layer acts as a local coordinator. A device like a network router or a local server can gather up data from an entire area, say all the smart sensors on a factory floor or all the traffic cameras on a city block, and pre-process it right there. Let's just walk through how this all comes together, step by step. So first, you have the edge devices, the sensors and cameras collecting all the raw data. Then, that data flows to the fog nodes, the routers and gateways, which process and filter it, basically looking for anything important. And finally, only the really essential stuff, or maybe a summary, gets sent all the way up to the cloud for long-term storage and big-picture analysis. It's just a way more efficient system.
Okay, let's really nail this down. We're going to put these three layers, edge, fog, and cloud, right next to each other, because seeing how they compare really makes it all click. The biggest difference really boils down to one word: speed. Or if you want to get technical, what engineers call latency. Because the edge is doing its thing right there on the spot, its response is almost instant. But the cloud, just because it's physically far away, will always have a delay. And for some applications, that delay is everything.
And this breakdown just shows the trade-offs perfectly. The edge is kind of like a sprinter, unbelievably fast, but it doesn't have a ton of power or storage. The cloud, on the other hand, is the marathon runner. It has massive power and can store everything, but it's slower to react. And the fog? Well, the fog is that versatile middle-distance runner, giving you a really nice balance of both. Each one has its own special job to do. So, why are we talking about all this? Why does any of this technical stuff matter to you? Because this three-layer system, it's not just some diagram. It is the invisible engine that's going to power the next wave of technology, the stuff that's going to fundamentally change how we all live and work.
Just think about what this makes possible. Smart cities that can instantly reroute traffic when there's an accident. Wearable health monitors that can spot a problem and alert a doctor before it becomes an emergency. All of these incredible, life-changing innovations, they are only possible because of the insane speed and reliability that edge and fog computing bring to the table.
You know, if there's one simple way to remember all this, it's this. Edge thinks fast for those instant reflexes. Fog organizes smartly, acting as that local manager. And the cloud stores deeply, serving as our giant digital archive for the long haul. Each layer has a crucial and very different role to play.
And this is the real takeaway, the big shift. We are moving away from a world where our devices just report data to the internet. We're building a world where intelligence is actually embedded in the environment all around us, making smart decisions locally and instantly. This is about way more than just speed. It's about creating a truly responsive world. Which leaves us with a pretty fascinating question to think about. What really changes when your car, your home, and even your entire city can all think for themselves?